Well, this took a lot longer than I had hoped to do. Um, I recorded one video right at the first day of the treehouse, but I figured, nah, that's not all they're showing, so I deleted that and I wanted to do something else. So, I wanted to see all of it, and then scheduling issues happened, and other things happened, and I had to delay the video a lot, and finally it's here. And I want to get it out now, because as I'm recording this, I think Money in the Bank is going on, and I want to get that out of the way before I start yelling about that. I'm not watching the event, because I don't have the money to really, I don't have a substantial income to pay for the network all the time. So, no, I'm not watching it. I'm going to look at the results, and I'm going to say my piece on that when I eventually get to it, if I have anything to say about it. But I'm most likely going to start yelling about it because they're probably going to do something stupid. But I'm not talking about WWE right now. I'm talking about E3. I want to get this out of the way now. Nintendo. That's all I'm going to talk about. Square Enix I didn't really see anything from Square Enix that was worth talking about. Let's just get to Nintendo. Zelda. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's the new subtitle. The game is really good. It looks... the art style looks very similar in a way to something like Shadow of the Colossus, Ico, and soon to be Last Guardian. It look the scope of the game looks really good. The mechanics look really interesting. That it's more of an open world, that you have more freedom to do a lot of things. That some of the things that you carry around look very futuristic and all that. So I like that. I am a bit disappointed that what was that again? Yeah, I probably should just bring this up. I'm a bit disappointed about the buzz that's been going around about this game. That it's like they asked the developers as to about playing as a female character in the series in this game, because we clearly see from the trailer that like some people speculated that this was a female Link, but the footage that we saw clearly shows that he's still a man, which is a good thing, by the way. I hate it. I would hate it if they changed him to a female just because. And they said that if they were going to do a female character, it should be Zelda. It's like, absolutely, that makes perfect sense. But they didn't do that because if she was the main character, what would Link do? That's not really an issue. You could easily just, sort of swap their roles. It's like Link is now swap the roles like this. The game is called Legend of Zelda after all, so why not make the game about Zelda? You basically picked, like, do you want to play as Link or do you want to play as Zelda? Sort of the same adventure, but maybe a little different. But hey, it doesn't really bother me too much, but so I'm a bit disappointed. That's a big talking point, but eh. Pokemon Sun and Moon was what they showed off. Well, they showed off this trailer for Zelda, and then they showed off a gameplay demo for Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon looks very similar to Gen 6. They showed off 2 new Pokemon. Your a Mongoose called Yungoos, that had a very strange face with some sharp teeth. And then you had Pikipek, which is a woodpecker. It's your standard bird Pokemon. They have one in each generation. I'm assuming Yungoos is going to be your standard rodent Pokemon. You have one in each generation. Mechanically, it's like I like the interface. The interface that they give you a chance to see, status or stat lowering or lowering or rising stats all the time, so you don't have to constantly remember it or something like that. And it's completely optional, so you don't. So if you want to play old school, you can easily just go that way. You don't have to look at it. And if you now, they also have an effective meter, essentially, that it shows which moves are effective, which are not, and which are just standard. That's nice, I suppose. Make it more accessible to new players, I guess. But that's about it. They also showed off a fatal 4-way, which they call Battle Royale. Basically, that Pokemon can now be fatal 4-way. And if as a wrestling fan, I always call, when there's 4 people fighting each other, I always call a fatal 4-way. Because when I see 3 people fighting each other, I call a triple threat. It's pretty much the same thing as a fatal 4-way. 4 people fighting each other. The first one to be knocked out loses. That person who knocked him out wins. Simple as that. Yeah. Not really much else to say about the game other than, it looks like Gen 6. I'm really hoping it's not exactly like Gen 6, because I did not like Gen 6. Like, mechanically it was a bit clunky, and the region was so fucking boring. I'm hoping Alola is much more interesting, because I don't have a 3DS at the moment, but I have been considering getting one, because it looks like they're never taking it away, never changing to another handheld. So might as well jump on the bandwagon just to get some of the games I might be interested in. And I always play at least once the new Pokemon games, at least the new ones. The only main Pokemon game that I've skipped is I've skipped 2 actually. It's Gen 2 original, because, well, I wasn't really that into Pokemon when it first came out. Like, I played Gen 1, but I got stuck, so I didn't really get too far into it before I started playing something else. And then when I got back into the series with Gen 3, well, there you go. And then I skipped the remakes of Gen 3 because, again, I don't own a 3DS, and I really hated the decision to do remake Gen 3. But this game looks like something I could play, potentially, to give it a shot, but my hopes have not really been raised. I don't think it looks all that interesting. And who knows, I might see something better as we go along. Speaking of, continuing with Pokemon, we have Pokemon Go. It's a phone app, I guess. I don't have a smartphone. I have no intention of getting one. I don't like the concept. It looks very weird. Not interested. Ever Oasis, it's a new RPG. Looks very similar to Monster Hunter and some other some RPGs that are very puzzle heavy in a way. It's okay. It's made by the same guys who made the guy who made the original Final Fantasies, 1, 2, and 3. It looks okay, I suppose. Box Boy looks like your very standard puzzle game, I guess. Not too terribly interested. Mario Party Star Rush. It's a 3DS game featuring Mario Party. They didn't really. It's a Mario Party 3DS game. Didn't really show anything. Show that much off. It showed they're going away from the kart gimmick, which is nice, but it's a handheld Mario Party. You've already lost me because Mario Party just isn't fun to play unless you're playing a local multiplayer. It just isn't. Like playing online, you gain nothing. You might as well play against the computer. And playing by yourself is very boring, honestly. I've tried that with a couple of Mario Parties, and it's not fun. You need at least one other person to play with, to play with you, because you have some fun with that. And some furniture to run around, of course. It is Mario Party after all. Yokai Watch 2. I don't really have anything to say about this one. Yokai Watch looked and now they're announcing a sequel. Same result. And finally, actually, I forgot to write this down. Let's just get to Color Splash. It's Sticker Star 2. I've never played a Mario Party game, and I'm not planning on starting with this one. Because, from what I heard, Sticker Star was absolutely terrible. And, Color Splash looks very similar to that, so, no. I have heard some rumors that they're planning on maybe remastering Thousand Year Door. I might try that one, but if they remaster in the same way that they did Color Splash, well, yeah, that could really turn a lot of backlash on people. Anyway, let's move on to the final game, which I forgot to write down. Tokyo Mirage FE. I think that's the name of it. Basically, it's, from what I can tell, Persona / Shin Megami Tensei combined with Fire Emblem in a very fashion. Never really played a Fire Emblem game. Sorry, something popped on the screen there. Never really played a Fire Emblem game. I've been interested in it a little bit, but but it seems to be playing the style of Persona. I never played Persona. I might try 5 when that comes out. I might try some of the older games at some point, but it's not high on my priority list. So this game is not very high on my priority list either. And that was pretty much it. They didn't really show off anything else, I think. At least not from what I can remember. And overall, Nintendo just kind of fell flat. They didn't show off. They showed off a couple of things here and there, and Zelda looked impressive. That was what they were banking on. But really, I feel the fact that they didn't have a conference to announce all these things really backfired. It's like it really did not work. Like I know Zelda was the most talked about game at E3, but it's Zelda. You know, it has a very large fan base, so it was going to get a huge buzz no matter what. And I feel like you could have shown the trailer for the new Zelda game at a small digital event like you did the past few years, or you could have done an actual press conference. I don't know. You don't need to, I think, but show us some good, show us some tidbits. Get us excited for games, and if we want to see more about them, turn into the Treehouse. Like that's what you usually do. Like the Treehouse is a nice concept. To show more of the games over a longer time scale. For those who don't really have the time for it, show us a little bit what we can be excited for beforehand. So the fact that they didn't this year really knocked them down a peg, and I can easily say that they were not. I don't really want to give them a rating because it wasn't a press conference at all, and it wasn't a digital event at all. They didn't really, what they showed off, it just, like they showed some of it in depth, but really it doesn't really resonate with people, and it doesn't really get people all that excited. And what I especially hated was the fact that they didn't show anything about the NX, and it's supposed to come out soon, I think, like this holiday season, I think, and they haven't shown anything. We don't know what the console looks like. We don't know what the controllers look like. We have no idea what the graphics in the game is going to look like. We have no idea how what kind of system they're going to use for the NX. We have no idea what the NX really is, other than the fact that it's a console. And pretty much we barely have any games announced for it. It's like the new Zelda game is going to be on Wii U, but it's also going to be on the NX. Ubisoft pretty much announced the first game for the NX, which is Just Dance 2017, which is pretty terrible. Which is a pretty terrible start line there, and they haven't really announced anything else. And the fact that they haven't shown us anything about the NX really hurts. First of all, a lot. I really wanted to see something there. But oh well. That's Nintendo, and that's E3 ended 4 days ago, I think. So I'm really late to this one, but yeah, that's the end. Overall, this year was okay. Like there were like my expectations were pretty low, so maybe that made the show a little bit better than I normally would have thought it would have been. Like you had your standard that EA sucked and Ubisoft sucked, and this year even worse. You had Microsoft was better than it usually is. Bethesda was okay. And Sony won again. I can safely say that now. Sony wins again. I know some people disagree with that, but in my opinion, Sony had the best show, best conference, made most people excited, made most people interested in buying a PS4, or at least from what I can tell. I have seen a few games I'm interested in purchasing for the PlayStation 4 and the Wii U, potentially. Or I could just wait for the NX, I don't know. Well, mostly this was just showing me things I either already wanted for the PS4 or things I'm really interested in getting for the PS4, such as the new God of War game, Horizon, Zero Dawn. I am almost sold on Final Fantasy 15 now, so yeah. It got me excited for a few games, and that's really all. It was a decent time, and I'm hoping things look good for the future. See you next year.